For me, when I come to the party and I set up my altar and I sprinkle the Ganga water and say the mantra and make the offering to the cosmic spirit, the whole party becomes the offering, the music becomes the offering, the dance becomes the offering. Cosmic spirit should come to the place and bless all of us. The longer it goes on, the more the trance comes. And it comes to a point where every song is so perfect in the moment, it's timelessness. So perfect you start to get chills up your spinal column and out the outside of your skin, and everybody's getting that all at once. It's like a cosmic orgasm. Then at some point it comes like a shock of lightning, like a bolt of lightning through everyone all at once. And that's when the seed is being planted in everyone's subconscious that will hopefully grow and flower and make people more sensitive and aware of themselves, their surroundings, the crossroads of humanity and the needs of the planet. This is what our Goa party, our holy ritual is all about. And this is what we are trying to achieve with it.
So, you take, let us assume, third toke, long and slow. You vaporize, and you take it in and in and in, and there is a sound like the crumpling of a plastic bread wrapper or the crackling of flame, and a tone, and there is this there is a cheer. The gnomes have learned a new way to say who.
This is a search to find ways of changing our own mind and triggering our own inner feelings that are going to come out one way or another. If you're going to be a yogi, be a yogi. If you want to take drugs, that's what you're going to do. If you want to be straight, that's what you're going to be. The main thing is, the whole game is to alter your consciousness, to get higher, to go to those other dimensions, to fulfill our potential. And one of the ways we can do this is through music, because it's healing and elevating, and it will take people to a higher realm of consciousness if they let it.
Says that our intention here is the highest of the unity of human consciousness and animal consciousness and nature consciousness.
Dying and then born again.
Well, Shiv Nataraj is the form of Shiva as the dancing god, lord of the dance, and he is dancing and creating and maintaining and blessing and pinpoint destroying, and so it's a way to get to your inner self and dance into the rhythm of the cosmos.
Cessation of the fluctuations of the mind. you want to see this pure paper, the white piece of this paper, you have to remove all these lines, isn't it? Similarly, the mind too covers the real consciousness, the real thing which you are. So you have to remove all this darkness, all these lines and taintedness, which is the mind. Then the natural beauty of the base, the foundation, is automatically observed, isn't it? It is natural, it is always there. So now, what do you see in this world? Only your mind. And how is this mind being seen? Does a dead man see his mind? So he must be conscious. You are nature. Aren't you nature? So if you hurt any part of nature, it will certainly rebound back on you.
I remember there was a moment when I was by myself and I was realizing everything for a moment. I was like remembering who I was and who I always will be and getting in touch with the universal mind of the cosmos.
It reminded me of the wisdom that my body has separately from my intellect in some way, this information that is encoded in my physical shape. If you think of consciousness as being, my body being the shape of my consciousness in this hologram now. I'm sure that all of our bodies are holding incredible encoded information. All of these things connecting at the same frequency.
You know, like radios have an FM frequency.
You can tune in this information, just like turning the radio on.
Like a radio station, that little twist on the dial makes all the difference.
It's on all the time.
The frequency is broadcast and then the music is modulated along this frequency. Now you can
allow yourself the stillness, which meditation, of course, has allowed me. That is how I feel I've tuned into this information. And I am sure that anyone who wanted to take the time to investigate their own inner realms, they would find extraordinary information there.
Certainly as a metaphor, you can see music as a form of carrier wave that modulates spiritual intent.
No matter how you can conceive our universe, however large it is, however infinitely expanding it is, there is these possibilities now of alternative universes, 1/billionth of a quark away from us. And if we can tune into that, we get into those other dimensions. Now, it's a long way of saying, do these dimensions exist? Of course they exist, and we all experience them. How do we experience them? We experience them, for instance, by coincidence. Right, so something really weird happens. I'm sure it happened to you last week. A really weird coincidence. And you think, wow, man, that couldn't have... But that's not a coincidence. That is an actual divine manifestation of the groovology policy that is happening on alternative realities. And everybody is for us, as we were saying before. We have these guardian spirits, we have these guardian planets, we have giants that are overlooking us. They may be 2,000 miles tall, and they are our spirits that help us and protect us through all the universes.
If you strike a key, or a string is the better example, a string, just a chord, a monochord.
You've got to be a scientist of sound.
Every other tone that's possible is happening within that tone.
I find it is more likely to produce spiritual energy along that metaphor.
And from that octave, the fifths will ring, and from the fifths, the fourths, and so on and so on. 12 times, that's the cycle of fifths, 12 times, and then it will repeat to the same sound again. But this same sound is a quarter note off, but that's a total other story.
I mean, look at Albert Hoffman when he got up to LSD 24. Nothing worked. And then years later he went back and he brought out that thing and he worked on it until he found LSD 25. And then the magic of shamanism came together through science and theology. And at that moment something transcendental happened to the consciousness of the planet.
This poster, Fortunare Technicolor Dream, was the first psychedelic event that I ever went to in this country. I went on the first weekend I came out of hospital after breaking my back to see if I could adjust to the outside world, and I certainly, it was definitely, the world was ready for me with this happening. And the person who put this on, who organized it, Hoppy, also was responsible for sending me to my first tip party, which was my first Goa Trance style party. Music heightens our spirits, it brings people together in a coordinated body movement and coordinated mindset as well. People are in similar mental states, even people without drugs get into those mental states. And through the dance and the repetitive movement, which is credited by leading anthropologists as being the original basic driver of all social organizations and all social forms, originated with or synchronized body movement. And it's something that's been dreadfully lost in society. And music keeps that going. And trance music raises it to new heights. This is how it is. It's a church of personal revelations. And people share their revelations. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and it was crap, but sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're enriched for the rest of your life by a perception you've had about, it could be yourself, or it could be how people interact. You might have discovered food. I mean, for me, when I first took acid, it does enable people to break out of ruts that they've been in. This is what I've always eaten, this is what I've always listened to, this is all my mates always were. People can't get out of this rut. If you take psychedelics, you can. You get far enough out of your current state of existence that you can see, you can experiment with other things, be open to them, and see the error of your ways sometimes and the brilliance of your future. Well, enjoy it and be grateful to it. I think that's a very important part, is to send some actual gratitude and thanks back to whatever it is that has enabled us to have this paradise here.
it only came together in Goa for a lot of that music. It only made sense in Goa, but it was made by people from different states. When I went there from around the world, basically, and I went to a few parties, I was like amazed, and then I became really inspired by it. I realised this really was the future of music in a lot of ways. It was all about the spirit and the feel of the music. It becomes a language through which you can find your own identity. I think Goa was a particularly fertile place for it to begin and nurture it, and for it to gather its strength.
Maybe it was an ankur, it was planted and it was a seed in Goa, and then it's flowered and spread everywhere.
That has been a long, well-trodden route of a long, very old tree, which goes back millennia and involves the very basic elements of humanity, which is dancing under a moon and the stars. I found I could draw correspondences with Brahmin priests and the Druids and Rajasthani fiddle players and the Irish fiddle players, and there were a lot of correspondences in fact. And I think there are in all native cultures. To have them reawakened in yourself and then reinterpreted by yourself and integrated into your contemporary world is the way forward for society. And we have to rediscover those truths of our ancestors in our own way.
And we can do this through the parties and through our dance, and that's why this is a really important thing we're involved in right now. It's not frivolous.
It's not just a disco in the forest, it's an initiation. It's the gathering of the tribe. It's like the 60s all over again.
In the high point of the 60s, 66, 67, a lot of it was quite dance orientated, like the London club UFO.
Where you had films on the walls, liquid slide shows made, with like big watch glass shaped glass dishes and immiscible brightly coloured oils and fluids swirled around in time for music. People playing records, they'd be called DJ now.
A lot of the original disco pioneers were also very idealistic. They took acid. Actually, disco grew out of psychedelia.
You have a culture and a collective society spirit that allows people to come together and do those things together and communicate it together. Because the location was Goa, which is India, which still had a kind of collective consciousness which made the old ancient gods there alive to the majority of the population. The Shiva and the Hindu gods, and even Buddha and the other religions.
Yeah.
Because the context was there, people were opening up in a very big way.
Getting down with the family and nature, getting down with Mother Earth.
You meet people who are individuals that carve their own niche in their own way, create their own realities. You see people as examples of doing exactly what they want to do, creating their own realities, carving their own niche and creating a better world. Collectively that gets stronger and stronger, and it becomes a message of, sort of love.
Goa. It went commercial, and now it's just gone fetid like an old cheese that's been left too long in a cupboard. The spirit is gone, the blue rinse tourists have come in, the flea markets exploded into Regent Street. I suggest to everybody, find new pastures, the world is out there.
Back in the 60s, we had the inspiration of Marshall McLuhan and his idea of the global village. That was what we were aiming for. We could see it coming, but now we live in it.
Our time is a time for crossing barriers, for erasing old categories, for probing around.
Hermann Hesse wrote about a future society in which people would play a crystal bead game, in which all of the different media, all the different arts and sciences would come together. And we're starting to see those kinds of tapestries being woven on the web.
The other side of it is, of course, globalization.
A small group, largely of men, who are controlling the vast majority of the world's resources, are holding on as much as they possibly can do.
So I think the case is not to complain, but more to try and intervene by communications, by showing people other ways of living their lives and doing things that are more fun, that are more positive from everyone's point of view, rather than just saying this is absolutely awful, you must change. If people say to me, look at this is a really interesting way of doing something. Would you like to try it? I'll show you how it all works. Then that's a totally other way of delivering actually the same message, which is, why don't you change your behaviour and try doing it like this for a bit?
You have to ask yourself the question, why are all these wars happening? Why is there BSE? Why is there genetically modified food?
You have to act in whatever way you can see, like whether it's by making a video, or whether it's by taking direct action on the streets. If you have a point of view that someone else is doing something that may be dangerous to you, it's your responsibility in a modern society to get that point of view heard.
Based to a true, secure brotherhood and sisterhood, cooperative Eden farming and culture. Happy! Happy tribal home. Working and sharing to create heaven on earth with full help from our government. To have their tear-stained faces kissed with generosity, surrounding them with the grace of flower-decked rainbows instead of hell's droning bombers. Butterflies to dazzle their learning eyes. This is not idealistic. This is common sense. Reunite the stones of our ancestors. Soul of solstice. We come
together, reunited sons of our ancestors. Solar solstice, we come together, reunited sons of our ancestors. Celebrate the summer. We come together, reunited sons of our ancestors. Solstice, solar solstice, we come together, reunited sons of our ancestors.
This piece is about 10 years old. It's called Theologue, the union of human and divine consciousness, weaving the fabric of space and time in which the self and its surroundings are embedded. That's the subtitle of it, rather long. And what I try to do in the work is to show the interpenetration between the physical dimensions and the more metaphysical dimensions. And in the bodies, it shows up as the acupuncture meridians and points and chakras and auras and halos and things like that. This particular painting is one of my favorites because it came from an experience that I had some time ago. It was a high-dose LSD experience, and I was wearing a blindfold and seated in a lotus posture. And I was staring into this, it was a device I invented called the Mindfold. It's just like a light-type blindfold with space to open your eyes. So you look into total darkness. But as, somehow I was seeing an electric grid that was like all along the horizon. It was just this incredible kind of perspective grid. And it seemed that I was projecting this at the same time that I was like seeing it outside, but I was in my head, so it was very confusing, but I felt like, well, this is the loop of space and time. This is like when you dream, you're dreaming in space. And so you're always creating space. Somehow our mind is creating the space that we're surrounded by. So how to visualize that? It was solved by putting this kind of seated Buddha here and having the horizon line, the vanishing point of the horizon line of perspective, be synonymous with the cone of perception that's spreading out. So this is how this thing, he is appearing to project the space that he's seated in.
Welcome to the Purple House. We have the computer lab right away. Come into my lab. Welcome home.
how to organize the thoughts of so many, how to take the sum collective total of all of our consciousness and turn it into a usable tool to save our planet, and then to go the next step, to evolve our minds and to evolve our beings. To use the information that exists and has existed to turn our planet into an Eden. My answer is one of my favorite tools at the moment is the loom, the digital loom, being something for everything. Your animation, your video, your audio, your graphics, your interactivity, your communication tools, all woven together. That is right now for me the most epic tool for conforming your imagination into a understandable packet. Soon the technology will exist to allow us to sculpt graphics and sound together. Simplified interfaces that are so deep that you don't have to think about them, but you can just think fluently in them as a language. So you can actually speak or think in the language of creation. The same shapes occurring and the same concepts occurring throughout nature. The same spirals in the trees and the patterns in nature reoccurring. All the same patterns come through naturally through religions, from the tribes to the biggest religious cults. The natural core tribal essence of the spirit that would drive someone to just go and paint or carve or sculpt the epic art that we find in the ruins. Our dreams are the most important thing, and we should follow those. And that if you do follow your bliss, people will seek you out to make sure that you can do the things that it meant for you to do, but only if you follow your bliss. Otherwise, compromising even a little bit with your soul mission makes it all just fizzle away. And if you really go for it, there's nothing that can stop you. Oftentimes, you can close your eyes with the graphics that would never have been possible on any computer screen or any video projector. It just happens naturally with one mind.
So again we dance.
elders of Goa. I am Patalet, the gatekeeper, the one who allows them, all the spirits, to pass. Nothing happens without Papa Legba's blessing. A voodoo ceremony.
One particular area we've been interested in since the middle 70s is what used to be called biofeedback, which is basically a sort of a study of the relationship between various brain rhythms and states of mind. They divide the rhythms of brain activity into 4 bands: beta, alpha, theta and delta. And basically all these rhythms are happening at the same time, but if you close your eyes and go into a sort of dream state, the alpha will become stronger and the beta will go down. If you get agitated or try and do sort of some complex mental arithmetic, the beta will rise. And if you go into a state of deep meditation, the theta will rise. Now, if you can produce some kind of stimulus running in the rhythms, the brain will sort of follow it, rather like if you set off a tuning fork in a room full of acoustic guitars, they'll all vibrate to the note of the tuning fork. And the alpha frequency is the one that we're particularly interested in, and that happens to be in the band of 7 to 12 cycles per second, which corresponds to the 16th note of most dance music tempos. And there's the basis for some form of psycho-spiritual voyage.
And then you have the emisync one, which is da 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 da. And then link both brains together.
There's this oneness also, this solid repetition of something. Like the idea that in one everything is. Like when you hear one drum just going, you can imagine every variation in your mind.
It's all sound. Sound's the most powerful thing in the universe. In the beginning was the Word was sound. The whole planet's built on sound. Everything is molecular, everything is vibrating. This flute, the table, we're just a cluster of electrons and molecules vibrating on electrical energy, spinning round in this planet.
Sound is just a different frequency, resonance.
Exactly, it's like infrared or different parts of the spectrum, and then you have sound, which has its frequency. Now within that sound and within those frequencies, there are certain mystical frequencies in sound that heal and balm the human mind and body and spirit.
You can get to your final goal or objective by following many different paths.
So people have to really define their own needs and define their own religion.
They don't have to sort of read strange books and listen to people in funny outfits to have religion. It's just a direct, hardwired connection with the world, the universe, God. And it's brilliant. It's been missing from our culture for so many centuries. Any sense of being a part of a world as opposed to dominating it and running it. Marjoram kept I kept drawing the things that he was seeing on DMT. It's a made of buds. If you get a nice bud, you get wonderful creatures arriving from another dimension. And I felt this group of, whether it was 200 or 2,000 or 20,000 people together, expressing their gratitude for existence and their joy at living. Again, in a synchronized manner, but doing this on the earth. And I very strongly felt this is like medicine for the earth. It's acupuncture. It's natural healing to sort of get this message back to the earth that yes, some of us do love living here and love living on the earth and sharing its benefits, sharing its fruits. And this possibly goes to offset, some of the pollution and the degradation of the earth that's going on a much vaster scale in other places. But I think, if there is a Gaia consciousness there weighing up the future of, this species, the more gratitude we express for our existence, the more we're going to keep the balance in our favor. And with the parties, there are more people going to parties every weekend than there ever were before. More people taking psychedelic drugs every weekend. And the more laws they pass against it, the more this seems to happen. You could almost, argue a cause and effect that the laws are encouraging this to happen. That doesn't, I'm not in favor of the laws, though.
I want to do it again real soon and take more.
Dancing is such a beautiful way of celebrating It's a way of freeing yourself and elevating yourself so high and connecting.
It's just, you dance together, very good communication part, right? And just the body language, the way of your vibration and how we communicate.
You're so in tune with the music, and there's no distance, there's no distinction between you, the music, and everyone else dancing, that you're actually lifted up as on a wave and carried, and you don't get tired. You just are in the music and dancing along, and you feel like, your feet are almost not touching the ground.
There's a kind of transcendental experience that you can get by pushing your body to its limits.
We're going to attempt time travel.
Religious ritual, singing and dancing events that have gone on for millennia in human society. I do think that it's our collective signal, it's a certain quality of our collective signal that touches God.
What you've got is you've got people dancing, which is an expression of the body. And when you bring the body and mind together, you get heart opening.
understanding right now is all about unity. And that's how we can achieve great things as a human race, is when we come together in unity. It really breaks down all the borders of color, of creed, of wealth. I mean, we're all the same on the dance floor and we're all just having a good time.
You can create communal lift situation where everybody becomes high. It doesn't matter whether they've taken drugs or not. That's not really the point. The point is that they're sharing the experience of raising each other's consciousness live at that moment on the dance floor in a shamanic way.
Definitely the psychedelic experience, dance, trance, and getting into yourself enables you to get out of yourself and see really what's going on. And we've all seen stuff that we can't deny, which is definitely going on. Once you've seen that, there's no way can you possibly return to the world as you saw it before.
I think he does a little too much LDS.
Well, it is the trance. For me, it's a lot like so much like meditation.
It's not enough just to elevate your own frequency and the frequency of the people around you. You need to do it in tune with the earth. And when you do that, then it gets really interesting. So I'm hoping for an evolution in the trance culture where we move towards large solar sound systems and explicitly bringing in these consciousness keys into the music. And you're seeing it in the visuals and the backdrops. Everyone's wearing sacred symbols, everyone's tuning into sacred geometry, and it's happening. So, you know, I think that there's an enormous potential, and it's just one step away from being something which is really transformative. And not just for the people involved, for the planet.
No one is free until everyone is free. And that really is a modern version of Buddhism. You can't really enjoy your life while other people are trapped in shit in front of you. You should try to help them if you possibly can.
And we are living in a dying world, and we have to do our job. And, you know, if you simply just go off and smash your brain up every weekend, and don't contribute, don't actually learn from that experience and see really what the real situation is and try and make your life so complex that you can't even deal with it, then you fail to be you.
Because what we have to take responsibility for is being co-creators of reality.
But it's an evolution. Nature is always evolving. And we are all what you call evolving with nature as nature.
All is one.
All is one. There is no doubt about it.
Once we make that breakthrough and that we see that we actually are part of the Earth's evolutionary process, that we're not separate from it and our destinies are completely intertwined.
You see, actually feel and experience the unity in all this apparent diversity.
What have we learned, son? What is our society? What have we learned? We've crawled out of the reptilian swamp. Here we are, 60 billion years later. What have we learned? What have we learnt? If all the elders of the universe came down and spoke to us now, what could they tell us? What does that Baba that you knew tell us? What is everybody trying to tell us? They're trying to tell us love. And how do we love? Because we've got to love ourselves. That's how we love. If we love ourselves, then we can love everybody. We can share everything. But we don't love ourselves, we've got nothing. We're a dead battery adrift in the desert. But just saying the word love makes you feel good. I'm going to say it now for everybody. Love. Oh, what a word, man. Those 4 letters are better than other 4-letter words. Think love, act love, be loving, and don't make a show of it. Just be an internal lover. Love humanity, love animals and insects and everything. You can't go wrong. You will be loved in turn. You'll just turn into a giant ball of floppy love, floating like a thistle in outer space. Your time, my God.
What's the most amazing thing?
You tell me, Si. What is it? What is the most amazing thing? What do you think it is?
Consciousness.
This consciousness, which is this liveliness, is what we call God.